Hare Krishna. Very, very happy to be connected with all of you once again at the Bhaktivedanta Manor Dham, one of the most special yatras in ISKCON, very dear to Srila Prabhupada. I am very grateful that we are meeting again. I got an opportunity to serve all of you for a few years, and I've been having very fond memories of my association with the Bhaktivedanta Manor devotees. I sincerely thank today Vishaka Mataji for taking up such amazing services in this temple. Just so dear to Srila Prabhupada, my profuse gratitude to Neela Madhav Prabhu, Jagat Priya Mataji, Sutapa Prabhu, and all of you, each and every one of you at the manor. I remember a lot, Mother Kulangana, Shuchadharma Prabhu. I'm very, very grateful that after a long time, once again, today I'm serving all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Today I've been asked to speak on the chapter 27 of the teachings of Lord Caitanya, which is Hare Krishna. I hope I'm audible. Is there some network issue? I hope I'm audible and clear. Yes. Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. So, chapter 27 of teachings of Lord Caitanya, which is the conversation between Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll be briefly sharing the synopsis of this chapter as a service that has been given to me. Now, this is a verse which you see on the screen, is from Adi Leela, chapter 9, text number 50. Keya gada gadi yaya keya hata unkar teki ananditahan hase malakar. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great gardener, sees that people are chanting and dancing and laughing, and that some of them are rolling on the floor and some are making loud humming sounds, he smiles with great pleasure. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that this attitude of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very important for persons engaged in the Hare Krishna movement of Krishna consciousness. In every center of our institution, ISKCON, we have arranged for a love feast every Sunday. And when we actually see people come to our center, chant, dance, and take prasadam, become jubilant and purchase books, we know that certainly Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always present in such transcendental activities, and is very pleased and satisfied. Therefore, the members of the ISKCON must increase this movement more and more according to the principles that we are presently trying to execute. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thus being pleased, will smilingly glance upon them, bestowing his favor, and the movement will be successful. So this is one of the most beautiful verses in the Adi Leela, which reveals how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present in every ISKCON temple activity. Wherever we are having chanting, hearing, the Lord is present. Because the Lord has personally come to give us the most highest process of Sankirtan. Harsha Prabhu kahen shuno Swarup Rama Rai Nama Sankirtana Kalau Parama Upay. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his great ecstasy, he told to Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami at Gambhira in Jagannath Puri, Harsha Prabhu, in great happiness he told them. Now, before we go ahead, we have to understand, in Gambhira, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was crying, feeling separation from Krishna. He was feeling intense separation. He was crying a lot. He would cry, Krishna, where are you? Where are you? And one day, in the middle of all this crying for Krishna, he suddenly smiled. And he said, Harsha Prabhu kahen shuno Swarupa Rama Rai, Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar. Please listen to me very carefully. What is that? I want to tell you something very important. What is that? Nama Sankirtana Kalau Parama Upay. In Kali Yuga, Nam Sankirtan is the ultimate solution. Just chant and dance. Sankirtana Yagya Kalau Krishna Aradhan Seito Sumedha Paye Krishnera Charan. Sankirtan Yagya is the way to worship Krishna in Kali Yuga. And those who are intelligent, Seito Sumedha Paya, those who are intelligent, they will follow this process. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is declaring openly to Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar. So therefore, we follow Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, and we take shelter of Nam Sankirtan. And what will happen if we chant and dance? Mahaprabhu has revealed the three benefits that we'll get. नाम संकीर्तन होते सर्व अनर्थ नाश सर्व shubhodaya Krishna premera ullas. Lord Chaitanya says that if we take shelter of Nam Sankirtan, Nama Sankirtana hoite, first thing that will happen is Sarva Anartha Nash. All the unwanted things from our heart will get vanished. And secondly, Sarva Shubhodaya. Shubhodaya means auspiciousness. Auspiciousness will enter our lives. And Premera Ullas. We will experience the joy of love. See, everybody wants to be happy. And everybody knows that the greatest happiness in this world is the happiness in an experience of love. And when you take any Bollywood or Hollywood, any of the top movies, love seems to be a very powerful emotion. Most stories and novels carry love as a theme, because everybody knows that greatest happiness is in love, in being in love. So Mahaprabhu is telling Ramananda Rai and Sarup Damodar that Nam Sankirtan will give us these three experiences. Unwanted things from the heart will go away. We'll experience auspiciousness in our lives, and most importantly, Premera Ullas. We will experience the happiness of love. In this world, love is often a bitter experience. But Mahaprabhu is assuring that when we have Nam Sankirtan as the basis, when we have chanting and dancing as the basis, Nam Sankirtan will give us the experience of real and pure love. Now, this is not the only time, of course, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to Ramananda Rai in chapter 27 of Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We read a beautiful description. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to South India. Now, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has just been made a devotee by Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. And he tells Lord Chaitanya that, my dear Lord, you are going to South India. I have a request to you. When you go to South India, you will come across the governor of Madras province called Ramananda Rai. When you meet him, please associate with him. He is a wonderful devotee. Now, for those of you, just a little background. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left for South India from Jagannath Puri. He told everyone, I'm going to South India because I want to search for my brother, Vishwarup. I'm going on a mission to search for him. I don't know where he is. This is the external reason why he left for South India. But the internal reason, the real reason is he wanted to associate with Ramananda Roy. He wanted to have a wonderful conversation with him. So when he left, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, Mahaprabhu, you made me a devotee. In fact, if I had not become a devotee, when I was not a devotee, I thought Ramananda Rai is some sentimental person. I never respected him. But now that I've become a devotee, I understand that Ramananda Rai is a wonderful personality. So my dear Lord, when you go there, please do associate with him. Please meet him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very excited. So he came, and when he was traveling in South India, he came to this most beautiful place called Kovur, which is on the banks of the river Godavari. And on the bank of this river, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Ramananda Rai, the governor of Madras province, came there with a huge group of Brahmins chanting mantras, servants fanning him. He came seated on a huge palanquin, dressed in royal garments as the governor. And as his palanquin and his assembly, his group was coming, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting on the bank of the river, and he saw him. Ramananda Rai saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Ramananda Rai. Their eyes met. Their hearts started beating, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And Ramananda Rai is none other than Vishakha Devi, who is the closest friend of Radharani. So now it is like Radharani and Vishakha Sakhi are meeting for the first time in this pastime. So what a great reunion that would be. So, but externally, Ramananda Rai is from a lower caste. During those days, Hindu society was a very orthodox caste-dominated society. So Ramananda Rai is from a lower caste. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not only a Brahmin, the highest caste, but is also a sannyasi, the highest social order. And externally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi, Ramananda Rai is a lower caste, and the king, a royal governor. But internally, it is Radharani and Vishakha Devi meeting. So they are not able to control their ecstasies. So they start running towards each other and they come closer. And everyone is watching. There are hundreds of Brahmins chanting mantras, and everybody is watching this with shock, because during those days a sannyasi would not go close to a lower caste person. But here is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most effulgent, beautiful sannyasi, so handsome. He runs towards Ramananda Rai, they come close and they embrace each other and they start bathing each other with tears of affection. And they start getting ecstatic symptoms. And everybody is shocked. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he described this scene very poignantly. Eta sannyasira teja deki brahma sam. Oh, look at this sannyasi. Look at the effulgence on his face. Eta sannyasira teja. Deki brahma sam. It appears as if millions of suns have risen. It is as if the Brahman has appeared. Now, there is a bewilderment in the minds of all these Brahmanas there, because they are wondering, why is this effulgent Brahmin sannyasi embracing a lower caste man? Eta sannyasera teja deki brahma sam shudra alingya kene kore na krandan. Shudra, a lower caste man, Alingan, is embracing him, and Korena Krandan is crying torrents of tears. Oh, this is a little bewildering. Why is a sannyasi associating closely with a lower caste man? If we are talking about medieval India, when if somebody Brahmin threw some drops of water on a man from a lower, or on someone, and pronounced a curse or something, that man would be rejected from the social system. It was a very caste-conscious society. So they were surprised that such a big sannyasi is embracing a lower caste man. And now here comes the most important verse of this chapter, which we are discussing today. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately realized that these people are bewildered. Now, what did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do when he realized that these Brahmanas are not able to appreciate? Yai mata vipragan bhavamore man. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately said, oh, these Brahmanas, they do not know the feelings of my heart. They do not understand how much love I have for Sri Ramananda Rai. So what did Lord Chaitanya do? Yai mata vipragan bhavamore man. Vijatiya loke dekhi Prabhu kaile samarpan. Mahaprabhu saw that all of them are from a different caste. Vijatiya loke dekhi Prabhu kaile samarpan. He controlled himself. Now this is where the most interesting thing comes. That Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he considered all the Brahmanas as Vijatiya. Sajatiya means own caste. Vijatiya means different caste. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered all these Brahmins as different caste. Now, this is ironical because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and these Brahmanas were same caste. So ideally, he should have felt that they're all my caste people. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Brahmin sannyasi and they're all Brahmins. No. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered Ramananda Rai as his own caste, although externally Ramananda Rai was from a lower caste. Because Ramananda Rai was a devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers devotee, regardless of his external situation, as belonging to his own caste, his own community. And the Brahmanas, by birth, were high-class people in the society. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects them as a different caste. This is the beauty of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He never went by external criteria. Externally, Ramananda Rai was a reject in one sense. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers him as his own man. Whereas the high-class Brahmins, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects. Srila Prabhupada, therefore, is a revolutionary preacher because he understood this mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he went to the West, he gave Brahman initiation to people who are from outside the Vedic caste system. In fact, there is a very nice pastime. Malti Mataji was speaking once that when they were all young girls who had just become Krishna conscious, they were devotees, They were traveling with Srila Prabhupada, they would cook for Srila Prabhupada, and they went to Mayapur. And most of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers appreciated Srila Prabhupada's preaching in the West. But some of them were skeptical. And some of them were even vocal about their disapproval of Americans and Europeans becoming Vaishnavas. So when Srila Prabhupada was with some of his godbrothers and taking lunch, Malti Devi, Yamuna Mataji, they all had cooked a beautiful feast for Srila Prabhupada and his godbrothers. And as they were about to honor the prasadam, some of these godbrothers asked Srila Prabhupada, they were about to start honoring prasadam. They said, who cooked this prasad? So Srila Prabhupada very happily, with a joyful heart and with great pride, pointed to his American disciples and the Matajis. He said, they cooked the feast. They are all Pakka Vaishnava Brahmanas. Srila Prabhupada considered these devotees as highly qualified. But what happened? These few godbrothers of Srila Prabhupada, they refused to honor the prasadam. They said, we cannot cook food, we cannot eat food, prasadam, that is cooked by these devotees. They may be great devotees, but they are not the Hindu caste. Srila Prabhupada was very sad that his godbrothers could not appreciate, some of his godbrothers could not appreciate that these were very wonderful Vaishnavas. But later on, when these godbrothers had their own mathas and these temples, and they were under construction, renovation, and they needed funds, they came to Srila Prabhupada for donations. That time Srila Prabhupada smiled. He said, well, you don't want to eat prasadam cooked by the American devotees, but you don't mind taking money from the devotees who are from America. You don't mind taking Lakshmi from them, but you have difficulty taking prasadam cooked by them. So Srila Prabhupada exposed their double standards. So Srila Prabhupada was very clear that one who chants the holy names of Krishna is most dear to Krishna. Nam Sankirtan is the Yuga Dharma. And that's what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches to all of us through Ramananda Rai conversation in this chapter, chapter 27. And later on, the conversation between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes bhakti discussions to another level. This is considered as one of the most important sections in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through Ramananda Rai, reveals to us what is the goal of every Krishna conscious practitioner. What should be the goal, or what is the ideal goal? And that is to love Krishna like the residents of Vrindavan. So they agree to meet in the evening. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai are sitting, Lord Chaitanya says, Ramananda Rai, can you please tell me the goal of life? What is the ultimate goal of life? And Ramananda Rai says, Varnashram Acharat Pumsam. He says, Varnashram, practicing all the rules and regulations of Varnashram is the highest goal of life. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately says, Heyo Bhaya, Aage kaho aar. This is external. Speak something higher. Aage kaha yaar. Speak something higher. Now this is interesting because Varnashram Mahaprabhu rejected, but Mahaprabhu himself was in Varnashram. He had taken sannyas. But please understand, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected Varnashram not as a means. He rejected Varnashram as a goal of life. So we cannot reject Varnashram because Varnashram is needed. It's like you can't drink sweet rice just from the thin air. You need a container to hold the sweet rice, and then you can relish it. Similarly, Krishna Prem can be relished when we have the container of Varnashram. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not reject Varnashram as a means, but he rejected Varnashram as the goal, ultimate goal of life. See, this is very important for us to have lot of clarity on what is the ultimate goal of life. Otherwise, we'll get bored in Krishna consciousness after some time. We'll not find the process interesting. Because the ultimate goal of life, if we know what it is and if we have a desire for that, then Krishna consciousness will be very exciting. Like for example, if you want to enjoy, let's say there is a huge feast of delicacies, 56 items have been cooked. For to experience anything, our goal of Krishna consciousness is not to believe in Krishna. It is to experience Krishna, right? When you go to the Semitic religions, Christianity, Islam, most of the religions, Judeo-Christian traditions, they emphasize a lot on believing in God. But Krishna consciousness is all about experiencing God. Pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam sukham kartum avyayam. Bhagavad Gita says that Krishna consciousness is experienced. So to experience anything, we need three things. We need an opportunity, we need ability, and we need a desire. For example, if there's a huge feast of 56 items and you're not invited for that feast, so there is no opportunity to enjoy that feast. Let's say you are invited, so you have an opportunity to enjoy that feast, but you have a stomach disorder or your taste buds are destroyed, so you don't have the ability to enjoy that feast. So ability is also needed along with the opportunity. Let's say you have the ability, you have the opportunity, but you just had a heavy breakfast, so you're not hungry. So you need to have a desire also to enjoy a feast. So to experience a big feast of food, prasadam, you need the opportunity, you need the ability, and you need a desire. Similarly, in Krishna consciousness, we all have been given an opportunity to practice bhakti. We all have the ability. We have eyes, ears, nose, we have intelligence, we understand. We have the ability, we have the opportunity. But do we have the desire? In fact, this desire is the most important to experience Krishna. Because once we have the desire, then even if we don't have the opportunity and ability, Krishna arranges all of this in our lives. Sometimes devotees say, don't worry about all the future in bhakti, just be in the present moment. Just be mindful. That's true. It's true that our present determines our future. But it is also true that our future will determine our present. What we aspire for, if we want to love Krishna like the residents of Vrindavan, if that is a future we are looking for, then that will determine how we lead our lives now in Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, future will also determine our present. Sometimes people say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected Varnashram. No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'll repeat this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected Varnashram as a means, not as a goal. We confuse often the goal with the means. Now, one man said, my goal is to become the richest man in Mumbai. That can't be a goal. To become rich cannot be a goal. The goal is maybe to be happy, but earning money is a means. Similarly, our goal is not Varnashram, to follow all the rules and regulations perfectly. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected. And he told Ramananda Rai, oh, Bhaya, this is all external Varnashram. Come on, go on higher. Then Ramananda Rai said, the ultimate goal of life is whatever you do, offer to Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnashi, yat joshi dadasir, yat tapasyasi kaunteya kurushva, madarpanam. And you know what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's response to this declaration by Ramananda Rai? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Eo Bhaya, this is also external. Aage kahar, speak something higher. See, again, Mahaprabhu is going deeper into the ultimate goal of life. But Ramananda Rai says, okay, Mahaprabhu, the ultimate goal of life is Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayami masuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender to Krishna. Do not have fear. 18.66, I think every ISKCON devotee knows this shloka. And believe it or not, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again says, Eo Bhaya, aage kaha ar. This is external, go on, speak something higher. But then, Ramananda Rai says, devotional service that is mixed with empirical knowledge. Brahma bhuta prasanna atma nakochate nakankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he hears this, he says, Eo Bhaya, aage kaha ar. This is external. So you see, consecutively 4 things that Ramananda Rai has said, Mahaprabhu has rejected, saying this is external, speak something higher. And at this point of time, Ramananda Rai, he says that this is the 5th response to the same question. Each answer has been rejected by Lord Chaitanya. The first 4 answers have been rejected by Lord Chaitanya. But the 5th answer that Ramananda Rai gives to this question, what is the ultimate goal of life, Mahaprabhu gives an interesting response. But before understanding Mahaprabhu's response, let's hear what Ramananda Rai actually said. Ramananda Rai said, devotional service that is free of mental speculation, and that begins with hearing. Jnane prayasamudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiyavartam sthane sthita shrutigatam tanuvang manobir ye prayasho jitajito asite stri lokyan. Ramana Rai quotes this beautiful verse from the Bhagavatam, which says that devotional service that is free from mental speculation, where you are situated in your path, in your ashram, sthane sthita, for shruti gatam, you engage your ears in hearing about Krishna. If you do that, that unconquerable Lord will be conquered. Hearing about Krishna is the ultimate goal of life. This is what Ramananda Rai says. And when Ramananda Rai says this answer, which is the fifth response to the same question, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so far what did he say? Eyo bhaya, aage kaha ar. This is the external, go on higher. But now Mahaprabhu says, Eyo hai, this is right, this is all right, this is the correct answer. But Mahaprabhu says, aage kaha ar. But there is something higher, please tell me something higher. So Mahaprabhu has at last approved of the answer, but he wants more. So then Ramananda Rai says, now before we go ahead, please understand, hearing, because many devotees say, Prabhu, okay, I come to ISKCON programs and all this is okay, but this Krishna, loving Krishna, Vrindavan, this all, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm busy with my job, my relationships are a mess, my mortgage is high, I need help. What are you talking about, all this love of Krishna and Vrindavan? It doesn't make sense to me. Because we are not able to appreciate the ultimate goal of life as loving Krishna like the resident of Vrindavan. So how do we get that desire? I said opportunity, ability, and desire. How do we get the desire to love Krishna? We may not have the desire, but now here is the solution Ramananda has given. Hearing about Krishna. When we start hearing from those who have that goal of life as to love Krishna like the resident of Vrindavan, we will also eventually get that desire as the goal of our lives. Sometimes, we think hearing is a very passive activity. We just sit and hear. But Jiva Goswami says hearing is yoga. He says it's not a passive activity, it's an experience. So when we hear about Krishna, our desires begin to change. So Ramananda Rai has finally given a verdict which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has approved. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is greedy. He says, no, this answer is all right, but go on higher. Then Ramananda Rai says the ultimate goal of life is laulyam api ekalam mulyam. We should be greedy for Krishna. I want Krishna. And when Mahaprabhu hears this, he smiles. Again Mahaprabhu says, hey, oh, hi, this is all right, this is the correct answer, but aage kaha ar. Say something higher, I want more. Then Ramananda Rai says, pure devotional service to Krishna, like spontaneous love of Krishna, like the resident of Vrindavan, this is the ultimate goal of life. And Mahaprabhu says, hey, oh, hi, this is the correct answer, but aage kaha ar. Say something higher. Then Ramananda Rai says, the love for Krishna, which the residents of Vrindavan have in the mood of a servant, dasya bhav, the dasya ras, that is the ultimate goal of life. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again gets ecstatic. He says, hey, oh, hi, this is the correct answer, but aage ka ar. So I hope you are following with this. The first four answers Ramananda Rai gave, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected as external and said, go on, say something higher. The next four answers that Ramananda Rai gave, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted as the correct answer, but he said, I want something higher. Now, when Lord Chaitanya said something higher, 8 answers have been given to the same question. Remember, the same question is being asked. And 8 answers have been given, and progressively Mahaprabhu is making Ramananda Rai go on to say something higher. After these 8 answers, finally, Ramananda Rai now tells Mahaprabhu the ultimate goal of life is to love Krishna like Krishna's friends, covered boyfriends in Vrindavan. Hittam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradevatena maya shritanam naradarakena sakham vijaru krita punya punja. This is the beautiful verse in the 10th canto. Ramananda Rai quotes that how the boys of Krishna are running towards Krishna, and he says they are great devotees who have performed heaps and heaps of devotional activities, pious credits in the past. And people are thinking, some of them are thinking they are ordinary boys, some of them thinking they are Maya, some of them thinking they are simply servants of Krishna. No, they are Krishna's best friends. When Ramananda Rai gives this answer, now, so far what was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's response? Either it was Eo Bhaya, external, Aage ka ar, say higher, or Eo Hai, this is all right. Right? That's what he said. This is good. This is the correct answer. Say higher. But now Mahaprabhu doesn't say that. Mahaprabhu gives a different response. Mahaprabhu says, Heyo Uttam. This is the highest. This is, Heyo Uttam means better than the past, all the answers you have given. Heyo Uttam. But Mahaprabhu says, I'm not satisfied. Aage kaho aar. I want more. Say something higher. Then Ramananda Rai says, to love Krishna like the elderly gopis and the gopas in parental affection, Vatsalya ras, like Mother Yashoda loved Krishna. That is the ultimate goal of life. Gopya dade tvai krita gasida matavat yate dasha shrukalila anjana samramaksham vaktram niniya bhaya bhavanaya stitasya samam vimohayati bhirapi yad viveti. So when Krishna, baby Krishna is running, Mother Yashoda is running behind him, and baby Krishna is a small boy, but he's crying in fear of Mother Yashoda, and the black mascara is become wet because of the tears, and it's all coming on his cheeks, and he is breathing heavily. So this description is given by Kunti Devi, that Krishna, from whom fear personified is afraid of his own mother. Nemam virincho bhavo. Na Shirap Anga Samshaya, Prasada Lebire Gopi. Oh, what a fortune Mother Yashoda has. That who can love Krishna more than her? So when Mahaprabhu hears this again, Mahaprabhu gets ecstatic. Mahaprabhu says again, Eo Uttam, Uttam, this is the highest. So far he either said it is Eo Bhaya, external, or this is all right. But now Mahaprabhu is begun to say, Eo Uttam, this is excellent. But Mahaprabhu is not happy. He says, Aage ka aar. Ramananda Rai, there is something more which you are hiding from me. Tell me, what is there? There is something more. You are not telling me, tell me. Then Ramananda Rai says that the ultimate love or the highest goal of life is to love Krishna like the gopis of Vrindavan. Vikreditum rajavado biridam cha Vishnu Shraddhanvito nushrunayadata varnayedya Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kaman Tadrogamashva pahinoti achirena dhira. To love Krishna like the gopis of Vrindavan is the ultimate goal of life. Because if we hear about the gopis, then the lust in our heart will go away. So when Mahaprabhu hears this, you know what is Mahaprabhu's response? What is the response so far? Mahaprabhu said, Eo Bhaya, external, right? Or Mahaprabhu said, Eo Hai, this is all right. Or Mahaprabhu said, Eo Uttam, this is highest. But in all the cases, Mahaprabhu said, Aage ka, say something higher. But now when Mahaprabhu hears of the gopis of Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu says, Eo Sadhyavadi Sunishchaya, this is the ultimate limit of perfection. Finally, Mahaprabhu has given the ultimate verdict. This is the ultimate limit of perfection. But Mahaprabhu is not satisfied. Mahaprabhu says, Aage ka, I want to know more. Ramananda says, there is nothing more. Mahaprabhu says, no, you are hiding from me. But then Ramananda Rai starts giving a detailed analysis of the 5 rasas. He starts explaining how, this Shantaras, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, how they evolve. So he says, to love Krishna like the reference of Vrindavan and Shantaras is highest. But when we add, he says each rasa includes the qualities of the previous rasas plus something more. So he says Shanta rasa is complete and perfect. But in this world, in English language, we say perfect is a complete word. We can't say perfect. Perfect means complete, right? There is nothing more than perfect. But in Krishna consciousness, it's not like that. In Krishna consciousness, there is perfect, there is more perfect, and there is most perfect. So Ramananda Rai says loving Krishna in Shantaras is perfect. But in Dasyaras, as a servant of Krishna, there is all the qualities of Shantaras, but there is something more. And what is that? So in complete spontaneous love of Godhead, Shantaras, when you add the quality of intimacy, then that becomes Dasyaras. And when you add the quality to Dasyaras, which includes everything, but when you add a little bit more of confidence in Krishna, then that becomes Sakyaras. So Sakyaras is spontaneous love for Krishna, plus intimacy, plus confidence. And to this Sakyaras, when you add increased affection, then that becomes Vatsalyaras, love for Krishna and parental affection. And when we add to all of this, this is Vatsalyaras, which includes all these qualities. But when we add one more, which is complete freedom of expression, then that becomes Madhuryaras. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears this amazing technical but simple logical explanation by Ramananda Rai, Mahaprabhu starts crying torrents of tears. Then Ramananda Rai starts giving a simple example to explain these rasas. He says there is sense perception and there are material elements. He says just like we have ether or the sky contains the sense perception of there is sound. Sky means sky is equal to sound. Sound you can perceive in sky. But the next higher element, see, it says the next element of, for example, air. The air contains what is there in ether, in sky, which is the element of sound. But air also contains the element of the sense perception of touch. But if you go higher, like if we consider fire, fire includes the sense perception of sound and touch, which is there in sky and ether and air, but it also includes, fire includes form. And the next is water. Water includes all the qualities of the elements of sky, air and fire, which is touch, sound and form, but water includes taste. And the next is earth, the fifth, the final element. Earth includes all the above four plus smell. So Ramananda Rai compares this with the five rasas. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya he compares with ether, air, fire, water and earth. And just like each of these elements progressively includes all the qualities of the previous elements, previous plus extra, similarly, Madhurya Ras includes all the qualities of the previous rasas plus complete freedom of expression. So that's how he proves that this is the highest. And Mahaprabhu starts crying. Mahaprabhu says, till now Mahaprabhu said that Evo Bhaya, Evo Hai, Evo Uttam, Sadhyadi Sunishchaya. But now Mahaprabhu says, Ramananda Rai, that reason for which I came to Kovur is now fulfilled. My objective is now complete, but I want you to speak higher. Mahaprabhu is not satisfied. This chapter has more than 340 verses. Ramananda Rai then starts telling Mahaprabhu about qualities of Krishna and qualities of Srimati Radharani and how even Lord Vishnu is attracted by Krishna. And finally, Mahaprabhu gives special mercy to Ramananda Rai. Ramananda Rai starts seeing, he tells Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, you are sannyasi, golden complexion, dressed in saffron robes. But I'm seeing, when I see you, I see peacock feather, I see Krishna. What is happening to me? Mahaprabhu says, Ramananda Rai, you are a great devotee of Krishna. So because you're a great devotee of Krishna, wherever you see Krishna. So you are seeing in me also Krishna. That is because I am a Mayavadi sannyasi. I have no devotion, but still you are seeing Krishna in me also. That is your great quality. And I am a fool. Lord Chaitanya is telling this to Ramananda Rai, that Sarvam Bhattacharya told me I should meet you and get your association and get purified. Ramananda Rai says, no. Sarvam Bhattacharya, it is now proven that Sarvam Bhattacharya is compassionate on me. He wanted me to get your mercy, so he told you to come and meet me so that I get mercy. So like this, both Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to take credit and they all give credit to Sarvam Bhattacharya. So then Mahaprabhu finally decides that instead of joking with Ramananda Rai, let me be serious. Then Mahaprabhu gives a special darshan to Ramananda Rai, where Ramananda Rai sees Lord Chaitanya as Krishna and Radharani. We all know the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation of Krishna. Actually, he is the source of all incarnations. He is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. And Ramananda Rai gets this special vision of Krishna and Radharani. Now, this is like Vishaka Devi, Vishaka Sakhi seeing Krishna and Radharani in Vrindavan. But Ramananda Rai saw something which even Vishaka Sakhi in Vrindavan did not see. What was that? Vishaka Sakhi in Vrindavan would see Krishna and Radharani perform pastimes. Vishaka Sakhi in Vrindavan saw Radha and Krishna together. Right? But Ramananda Rai saw Radha and Krishna together, but Ramananda Rai also saw something very special. He saw Krishna enter the heart of Srimati Radharani to taste that nectar that she was hankering for. So this is the ultimate perfection. This was a special darshan which Ramananda Rai got. But then, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not leave Ramananda Rai. He said, I want to hear more. So then Ramananda Rai said, Mahaprabhu, there is nothing more to be heard. My limited brain cannot fathom. But you are the master puppeteer. I am simply a wooden doll. You are making me dance. You are making me speak so many things from my mouth. You want to say many things to the world, but you are making all of it come out through my mouth. So then Mahaprabhu smiled and Mahaprabhu says, tell me more. Now Ramananda Rai starts telling in great detail about the gopis of Vrindavan, their pastimes with Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so completely satisfied. They spend the whole night discussing about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And suddenly Mahaprabhu tells Ramananda Rai, it's morning time. Sun has risen. They don't even realize they were talking so much the whole night about Krishna that the whole night passed and it was sunrise. Now what do you do after sunrise? What would we do if we did Kirtan the whole night, or if we discuss Krishna Katha whole night? What do you think we would do in the morning? We would go and sleep, right? We need to catch up with our sleep. But you know what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did? And Ramananda Rai said, oh, it's sunrise. Now I have to go to office. So Ramananda Rai left for office and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have a chanting japa to do. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent the entire day chanting and dancing. Ramananda Rai went to his work and they decided to meet again in the evening. So again in the evening they met. For the next 8 days, every day they would meet and discuss Krishna Katha. And then that conversation, Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have beautiful conversation. And Ramananda Rai asks, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Ramananda Rai, what is the greatest happiness? And what is the greatest distress? What is the greatest wealth? If you want to know the answers to all these questions, please read Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. But we will stop here. It's a beautiful chapter and a beautiful section in the Chaitanya Charitamrita for all Gaudiya Vaishnavas in general and ISKCON devotees in particular. We understand the ultimate goal of life through these chapters composed by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in eloquent poetry and masterful presentations, of course, rich in devotion and love for Krishna. So let us read these sections and experience love for Krishna. I want to sincerely thank all of you, and I now await corrections, comments, questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful class where we could hear about the meaning of Sankirtan and the reason why Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy had met. And thank you for elaborating and giving us a clear vision of the ultimate goal of our practice so that we may be confident and understand the path we are walking. As questions are coming up in the chat, I would like to ask you, Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that to engage in that spontaneous devotional service, the requirement is lobha, greed. And we can see from the example of Lord Chaitanya how he's wanting to hear more.
Yes.
So how
brilliant. Yes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually demonstrates.
Yeah, how do a devotee, how do we come in contact with this greed? How does it awaken? Where is it coming from?
Yeah, greed, I was mentioning in today's class when I was explaining about the point about when Ramananda Rai tells Lord Chaitanya the answer, the fourth answer he gives. about hearing about Krishna? The fifth answer. That's when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says first time, Ayo Hai, this is the correct answer. So there I've explained this point. I'll elaborate now. Mahaprabhu becomes very happy because hearing, Mahaprabhu acknowledges, is the first step to developing greed for Krishna. And hearing especially from those devotees who have the same desire to love Krishna. Hearing is very contagious. It's not passive, it's an experience. Especially, in India, tuberculosis was a very rampant disease once upon a time. Of course, now we have the COVID. So what happens, in these diseases is, if you are close to somebody who is contaminated and he sneezes in front of you, he carries that virus, right? And that virus enters you and you get that disease. Or if you eat from somebody who's contaminated with tuberculosis, if you eat from his plate, then you also get that disease. Similarly, if we associate with someone who loves Krishna, and if he starts sneezing, like a COVID patient, if he starts, it's like he loves Krishna. So when he says Hare Krishna, it's like he's sneezing, and the germs and the virus is carried in that talk about Krishna. And when you are hearing that virus enters you and you also get infected permanently. So that is the solution. That's why Srila Prabhupada, once he was scheduled to give a class in France somewhere. Bhagwan Prabhu had arranged a program. And Srila Prabhupada was supposed to go to America directly. And but he said, no, Srila Prabhupada, please come to France. From London, Srila Prabhupada was scheduled to go to US, but Bhagwan Prabhu convinced him to come to France. And he said, we have arranged a program in a huge theater, which has capacity of thousands of people. So Srila Prabhupada, he kept saying no, but Bhagwan Prabhu kept pushing, and Srila Prabhupada finally agreed. And when Srila Prabhupada went there, it was a disappointment because hardly 5 or 6 people were there in the program. It was like a major disappointment. But before going, when Bhagwan Prabhu insisted, Srila Prabhupada said, I have agreed. He told the American devotees, I'm sorry, I'm coming late because Bhagwan Prabhu has convinced me to go to France. And what to do? Bhagwan is the supreme controller. I can't say no to him. So Prabhupada went there, and the program, nobody turned up. And then Bhagwan Prabhu said sorry. And Srila Prabhupada said, don't worry. I don't care if nobody comes. I am going to shout to the sun. I am going to shout to the stars, the moon, the sky. I am going to shout and scream to all the directions that Krishna is the most wonderful personality. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We have to love Krishna because ultimately I want a certificate from Krishna that here was a sincere soul who tried to glorify Krishna. I don't want a certificate from a pack of donkeys. Srila Prabhupada said that. So the point I'm trying to say is if we associate with those who really love Krishna, we will also develop the same greed. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So I see there's one question that came and is asking, so if a person starts serving Krishna in Vatsalya Bhav, is it an offense to elevate ourselves to Madhurya Ras?
Oh, Krishna. This is a very high rasic question. I'm not qualified to answer this. And please don't be like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and I won't be like Ramananda Rai.
Please do.
I don't have much understanding. But I know one thing, that in all the rasas, the primary quality is servant. Even those who are in the mood of Madhurya Ras, everybody wants to please Krishna. So it's not an offense to be in Vatsalya Ras. It's not an offense to rise in your rasas. I have no idea about all of this subject matter, but I know one thing, that ultimately in all the rasas, the mood is to be servant of Krishna. We want to serve Krishna, we want to please Krishna. Exactly how the rasas interplay and how exactly what happens, we need to study this under the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. And I'm sure all these higher truths will be revealed as we progress in our devotional service. Hare Krishna. I see one question also in front of me. Why did Ramananda Rai give the external answers when he knew the highest goal? Do we take up this question, Prabhu?
Yes, please do.
Well, why did Ramananda Rai give external reasons if he knew the ultimate goal? Well, it's a conversation. It's a rasic scripture. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking Ramananda. Sometimes when you are when you love someone and you ask a question and the person answers, then you want to know more. Isn't it a very sweet conversation? Imagine Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked and immediately said the highest answer. Then there won't be 350 verses for us to discuss, right? We need something to discuss, Chan. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit, when they would meet in Tota Gopinath temple, they would discuss for hours the same pastime from Bhagavatam. So Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, his Divine Grace Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj, he gave a beautiful analogy. He said, there are two friends, and one of them is heartbroken because his girlfriend ditched him. Of course, yeah, I like this answer. He needed encouragement to bring out the right answer. Of course, he already knew the right answer. But as you rightly said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was encouraging him, prompting him to come out with the most beautiful answer. And it was gradually bringing it to the highest. That makes a conversation very sweet, right? So I'm coming to the example that Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj gave, that Gadadhar Pandit and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have a conversation. So he said, it is like two friends coming together, and one of them is feeling very heartbroken because his girlfriend has ditched him, and he's very sad. So his other friend tells him that, come with me, and he takes him to a liquor bar, and he pours drinks. He says, okay, drink. So this fellow drinks, and he starts crying, and he starts saying, he starts crying a lot, feeling separation from his beloved. And then he tells Ramananda Rai, he tells his drunkard friend that give me more drinks, so that he keeps drinking, and he keeps pouring him drinks, and he keeps crying. And then finally he cries so much, he embraces his friend and says, you are my real friend. You gave me the highest nectar. So Bhakti Sridhar Maharaj he said, this is a perverted example of what happens in the spiritual realm. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like that lover who is feeling separation from Krishna, who is most beloved. And Gadadhar Pandit is giving drinks of Krishna Katha. Gadadhar Pandit is constantly telling about Krishna more and more and more. So Gadadhar Pandit is telling more and more about Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like that drunkard who is getting drunk. He's drinking more and more and more. And finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts crying so much, he embraces Gadadhar Pandit and says, Gadadhar Pandit, you are my best friend. Because you are removing that pain that I'm feeling in my heart of separation from Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he would have conversation with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, it was in this mood that he wanted to hear more and more about Krishna. In the Gambhira at night, whole night they would be crying. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be banging his head on the wall of Gambhira, and he would rub his face on the wall. It is not a smooth marble wall. If you've gone to Gambhira and Jagannath Puri, it's hard. Mahaprabhu's face would bleed. And Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai would be sitting and wondering, and they would pacify the Lord by singing Jayadeva Goswami's prayers or the 10th canto verses. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would pacify. So it is a very different rasa. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, directly if he would answered, then it would not have been so fun. So there is more and more discussion. And as you rightly said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is greedy for love. And he is hearing more and more. So that's the way we see this pastime. I hope that answers your question. Hare Krishna.
So there's a few more comments coming on. I think this last question is, when Mahaprabhu showed his Radha Krishna form, did anyone else see it? How was it recorded in the Caitanya Charitamrita?
Oh, Chaitanya Charitamrita, it came because these things are all revealed by Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai, were closest friends of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Swarup Damodar Goswami, Dalita Saki, Ramananda Rai is Vishaka Saki. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani. So Radharani's closest friends are Vishaka and Lalita. So they would always know each other very well. Swarup Damodar would know what Ramananda Rai is going through. Ramananda Rai would have Swarup Damodar. And they spent a lot of time with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Swarup Damodar Goswami was secretary of Lord Chaitanya. And Swarup Damodar Goswami shared everything with Raghunath Das Goswami, who then went from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan and Radhakund, and he would give everyday Bhagavatam classes on Lord Chaitanya. And there an elderly Vaishnava, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, would attend the classes and make notes. And then the Vaishnava of Vrindavan told Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that please tell us about Lord Chaitanya. And then Kaviraj Goswami, for their pleasure, this is how parampara is. So he revealed to us. So Kaviraj Goswami is revealing to us everything that he heard from Raghunath Das Goswami, who heard it from Swarup Damodar Goswami, and Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai were the best friends. I hope that answers your question.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Just a practical question. When we are reading Caitanya Charitamrita, is there any practical or maybe a mood that we can set in our reading, in our sadhana, for better grasp the deep meaning of these scriptures.
Yeah.
If you could speak on that.
Yeah. Before I answer your question, I see one question here. I'll just briefly mention this. Can you please give the reference chapter and text of the verse from Adi Leela mentioned at the beginning? It is 9.50 about Sankirtan movement. The verse quoted was 9.50, and I quoted a few verses on Nam Sankirtan. That is Ante Leela, that is the end of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 19 and chapter 18. So you can please refer to these chapters. And Prabhu, regarding your question about studying of Chaitanya Charitamrita, I want to, you're all, you have a wealth in a manner. I refer to Sutapa Prabhu's book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. He has given us an amazing way of studying Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he's one of my biggest inspirations. So I think you have in-house a treasure house. So how to study Chaitanya Charitamrita, there can be no. Recently, Sutapa Prabhu gave a beautiful talk to the GBC SPT. You'll find this talk in gbcspt.com. It's a conversation, I think, with Pancharatna Prabhu on studying Chaitanya Charitamrita systematically. So your question will be answered in that video. It's a 1-hour talk. It's like a podcast. So you can refer to that. So he gives very beautiful explanations on how we could study Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna. He has divided all the chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He has made an acronym to remember the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Oh, yes.
And to study. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
All the questions are answered by your grace. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This opportunity to once again associate with you.
Thank you.
I imagine all the devotees are very happy, also in the temple room as online to have your association and to hear from you. So I'll invite everyone to give a big Haribol to Prabhu. Let me just allow you to unmute yourselves. You can give a Haribol for Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank you so much.
Haribol. 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 Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Praise Vraja Bihari Prabhu ki. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Prabhu.
Thank you, Vraja Bihari Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.